At the end of the day, gentlemen, I'll do my monetary contributions towards them. It's not a situation whereby I will say, I'm contributing $1,000 towards $1,000,000
No.
for the people to know, but it's for the heart that he has for our country. It's not for him, it's for us all.
Just shortly. Simba de Manarareiko, 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 Simba de Manarareiko, Manarareiko, Ranomira Toyara, Manarareiko, Manarareiko, Simba de Manarareiko. Thank you very much.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Zimbabweans. Thank you so much for joining us. We are live on Zima, live on Change Radio. Thank you so much those who are joining us. As you were seeing there, that was a video by the legendary Paul Madzore. We're going to talk more about that. We're going to play it again so that you can see what was going on. That was at Unga 2022. Right there in New York City. Leader Barbara, not Leader Barbara, DJ Babs. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for coming to the United Nations.
Usadaro chief, usadaro unondigwadzisa mwoyo wangu. Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Zimbabwe, from wherever you are. Lingabe livuka njani, lachona njani, mthwakazi omuhle emagumbini amane wonke womhlaba. Yebo, sesiphendukile njalo le nduna yakoShoshe Padare namambo Shoshe. Yebo, si live ku Change Radio la kwamanye ama stations liyakwazi. Namhlanje sibuye le ndaba enhle kuqala anti liyakwazi sike sabuya lapha sikhuluma ngeUNGA United Nations General Assembly i-77th session ebiseMelika. Lapho sasikhuluma khona ngo-ED uMnangagwa ukuthi wayethethe abantu abanganani 225 people on board. Namuhla sesibuye le feedback ukuthi kuyini okwenzakala khonale kweleMelika nxa likhangele indikimba yethu yanamuhla isihloko sithi ED blows millions at UN returns empty-handed. Kuthiwa Emerson Mnangagwa wadla izigidi lezigidi zemali eMelika e-United Nations wabuya engelalutho kuthiwa wabuye elengisa izandla. So namhla ke sikhuluma ngaye uMnangagwa ukuthi uhambo lwakhe eloMelika ezehuquluza imali yonke lana waphenduka lani for abantwana beZimbabwe, for ilizwe leZimbabwe, because ungakhangela ama-presidents amaningi awe-Africa aphenduka elalo elezinto ezibambekayo, yena waphenduka lani uMnangagwa. So namhlanje lihlale kuhle lilalele sibili sihlaziya indaba leyi e-United Nations General Assembly. Kunengi okwenzakalayo siyibona abantwana be-CCC eMelika, o-Chief Shoshe labanye labo bebhikitsha. Unozwa kunonzi kubhikitsha here chief udemonstrate kakunonzi kubhikitsha.
Kuyini khonokho?
Ukubhikitsha ikudemonstrate.
Wow. It looks like Ndebele has more words in Ndebele than in Shona.
Yes. I think maybe it's because of our proximity with the Imatebeleland is in proximity with South Africa. So South Africans, they've got a lot of words in Zulu that they use instead of English. So they've got a lot of words in Ndebele, English words in Zulu. So I think that's the reason why even in Matabeleland we have a lot of words in
Yeah.
Ndebele. Yeah, unlike in Shona, you know Shona, mamwe mawords unotoshaya kuti iri rinonzi chii rine Shona, but in Ndebele you have almost every word in
Right.
Ndebele. So yeah,
Anyway,
over to
Barbara,
you.
I want you to help me to do the right thing here. We know when you have a program, when you go to the people and ask them to do something, when that something has come out and it has come out well, it's always good to come back and say thank you. It's always
Yes.
good to come back and say, Tinotenda, Tatenda. Thank you so much, as Zimbabweans, for the support that you gave North America province for the success of UNGA. Without Zimbabweans, without the support of the citizens, this program would not have come out the way it came out. It was a great success. I've attended so many demonstrations. I'm a veteran of demonstrations at UNGA, but this one was just unique. It was so good. And it was because of what you guys did with the likes of Wopo Chingono, flying all the way from Europe. And that money did not come from the province. It came from citizens. It came from, people that just said, we want you to succeed. We want Wopo to be there. And the workshop that they did, Barbara, it was an excellent workshop. I know some people were watching it online, and maybe
Live.
you as well, but just
Yes,
being
I
there
did.
in close proximity with people like Wopo Chingono, Honorable Chibaya, face to face with him, Honorable Molokele, Comfort Dondo, and many others that were there. It was, a good experience. And other people will be asking, why do something like that? Why bring Oppo, all the way from Europe to be part of that? Why didn't he just join online, or was it even necessary to have a workshop of that nature? I just want to tell Zimbabweans that it's important that we have these engagements, that we have these platforms. We create these platforms where Zimbabweans can come, exchange ideas in person. What Honorable Chibaya said on that day, and Honorable Molokele, those are things that they would not normally feel comfortable, saying over the phone. They didn't know that it was live, and I had to apologize to them later that it was actually live. But it helped because they didn't hold back. They just told the citizens as it is. And most importantly, it's here in the diaspora, we need to know what's going on in Zimbabwe, what's going on the ground, and it helps us to understand. I'm not saying we lack some kind of education. I know most people are educated, but just to hear about the human rights situation in Zimbabwe, what's going on, the arbitrary arrests, and you are hearing it from the people that have been arrested physically. Wopo Chingono, Honorable Chibaya, all those people have been arrested several times. It just brings something in you. I got a lot of good feedback from citizens that attended, that watched that program. They were just saying they learned so much, because there are people in the diaspora, Barbara, that don't know what's going on in Zimbabwe. I have young people that when you talk to them about More Blessing Ali, or about what is going on in Zimbabwe right now, Mr. Tuesday, Boneni Ngube, and many people that have been killed and murdered in Zimbabwe, they don't even know about them. Some heard about all these atrocities for the first time, because they came to say, oh, we want to see Wopo. But at the end of the day, they went back home with something more important: knowledge of what is going on the ground in Zimbabwe. And yeah, so once again, thank you, Zimbabweans, for supporting this program.
Yes, Chief, induna yokoshoshe lapha ibesitshela ngokuthi kuyini okwenzakalayo kuhlelo lwabo olwe-UNGA, lapha babe bezimisele ukuthi bafuna ukuyatshengisela betshengisile izwe lonke ukuthi uMnangagwa ngumuntu onjani, kodwa bengakahambi ke ukuyabhikitsha baba lama-programs, baba le-program lapho babebize khona abantu abahlonitshwa, abantu abanjengabo Chibaya, Hopewell Chingono, Comfort Dondo, Honorable Molokele, Ostalos Angasiperi. Ostalos was also
Ostalos
there.
was there, yeah. Ostalos was there.
Yes,
Let
I
me
saw
send
him.
some
I saw
pictures
him.
to Estella. Maybe she can beam some of these pictures.
Yes, yes. So besitshela ngabantu laba baba lethuba elihle kakhulu befunda ngedemocracy ukuthi kuyini vele khona okuthiwa yidemocracy, beshare ama-problems asekhaya eZimbabwe labantu abasemelika. UChief Shosho ubesitshela ukuthi abantu abaningi abasemelika abazi lutho vele ukuthi kuyini okwenzakalayo kwele Zimbabwe. So kwaba lithuba elihle ukuhlangana labantu abebevela eZimbabwe bekhuluma ukuthi eZimbabwe kumi njani. Lami ngangibukele sibili, ngabona hayi into zakhona zazihlelekile sibili. Chief ngabona sibili ukuthi laphana even uMadzore ngokwakhe was so happy ukuthi mbone la uMadzore enikwa isicoco phela esokuba yazi uMadzore has been iphila ye-struggle ehlabela ingoma ezombangazwe, ngumuntu oyenze ukuthi from ibandla lisungulwa kusese yi-MDC. uMadzore has always been there ehlabela phela. Anti yakwazi ukuthi even ngesikhathi sempi Chief ingoma zazisenza ukuthi impi iye phambili. Wana Chinks the likes of Wana Chinks wayimba wachitira kuti hondo iendere mberi. Saka it's like Madzore ndi-Chinks chingaira wedu isusu of this time, of this moment. So those people who always remember them. He's played a very pivotal role in this struggle. One day kana liberated Chief, we always think of people like Wana Madzore.
Yes. And yeah, one other prominent figure that was there at the workshop was Pastor E. You know, he happened to be in America at that time, and he became part of the panel. So we are just thankful and grateful that all these prominent people managed to come and interact with citizens and share their experiences in Zimbabwe. As you can see there, that's Pastor E when he was addressing the workshop. And, he did say a lot of things that just ignited something in most of us. It's important that we have these engagements. It's important that we have these high-level, prominent individuals just coming and talking to people. It does something. And from the feedback that we are getting, it was really great. We have seen, Barbara, a great response in our recruitment drive. People are phoning, where are you guys? We want to join. We want to be part of Triple C. It has a lot of spin-offs. People are just coming. I think in the past few days, I've heard about 4 or 5 people that have called and said they want to be part of Triple C because of programs like this. If I may tell you something that happened at this program when we're doing the fundraising for Mugwazo. I was going to we'll talk about that, then we'll talk about Madzore. There was someone, you remember the program that we did with Mukanya, Mapfumo. These people were not part of Triple C, but they saw the program that we had with Thomas Mapfumo. They're in California, and they called me, Chief, we saw your program with Mukanya. We didn't know that there was this program in New York. We want to come. Can you please send us details? Then I send them the information. I send them that's Hopo and my daughter. That's Chief and his daughter there. And Hopo, we had just gone to the airport to pick him up. And we had just got into the hotel. So I gave them the everything, the packages that we're selling for the hotel. And the following day, they told me, Chief, we have bought tickets. It was the mother, the husband, and the son. The son, Estella would know him. Danam Kanya, he's the one who was helping us to to broadcast live all the programs. And I just asked him to do that. But what was significant about them, during the fundraiser, during the Mugwazo fundraiser, we actually raised about $12,000 in 1 hour. If we had been given more time to fundraise on that day, because people wanted to eat, people wanted to, play music, we actually had
Yes.
a free bar, on that for 3
It
hours.
was a pegged.
Yeah,
It was
3
a
hours.
pegged program, Chief, I
People
must
just
say.
drinking. Yeah, it was pegged. So we only had 1 hour to fundraise. And can you believe it? We raised $12,000 on that day. And guess what? The couple from California that came because they saw us having a program with Mkanya here, donated $2,000 in cash. $2,000. Yeah. Can you imagine? So
Wow.
these programs, they work. They may not touch 2,000 people, but they may touch 1 or 2 people or 10 people that
Yes.
are
Yes.
will bring considerable contribution to the struggle. And I must mention my sister Comfort. She donated $7,000.
I saw
$7,000.
it.
And Barbara, I know you will love that. Towards
I
women
saw.
candidates. You can
I
come in
saw.
on that.
I actually saw that, Chief, and I said to myself, wow, I saw her making a donation that was going towards the female candidates. And Chief, that 7,000 will go a long way. I even retweeted, I saw a tweet, I even retweeted and thanked on behalf of all the women candidates, although we are yet to know them. We don't have any female candidates as yet, but very soon we are going to have them. And that money will go a long way in helping the female candidates, Chief. I was once a female candidate, Chief, and I know what it's very difficult for women to stand, especially against men. Our what called our system, yeah, is still
Yeah,
patriarchal.
patriarchal system.
Yes, men still dominate whether we want it or not, we like it or not. Men, they still dominate in everything, Chief. They are still in industries, they dominate in music industry, in wherever. Men, they still dominate. So women, we are struggling, Chief, to reach where we want to reach, but sometimes we are disadvantaged because of we lack financial resources. In politics, you will not thrive without financial resources. Everything needs money. So I was so happy, and it even reached the women themselves. I'm in a group where there's a lot of women, female candidates, that aspiring candidates, and they were so happy to receive that money. We really appreciate, Chief. I think I need number, Comfort. I need to call her directly, and I need to thank her on behalf of women, all the women participants, or all the women, the female candidates, even if we don't know them, but I know 7,000, it will go a long way. And I'll make sure, Chief, I'll follow up on this money. I'll make sure that each and every female candidate has got something, and that 7,000, it has to reach even kunana Zumba uko. Kune ma-councillors achastenda, ma-MPs achastenda, madzimai achastenda, as far as kunana UMP, they must get that money.
I just send you Comfort's number so that you can also reach out to him. It's
You.
important that we do that.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll call you. I'll definitely call you.
Yes. So besides the 7,000 and the $2,000, we also had people from North America, that donated, so that we ended up with about $12,800. And what I appreciated most was these people. North America is very different. It's not like the UK or South Africa, where you just jump in a train and you're in London, you're in Manchester, you're in Coventry. Here you have to travel. You have to get in an airplane, buy a ticket of $500 $400. Some bought, especially from California, it's the longest distance. It's about $700 to come to New York. And these were people, and all the people that we saw there, over 100 people that attended our fundraising dinner. They'd already sacrificed, more than enough just by buying a ticket. And hotels in New York around this time, they're very expensive. Hotel will be costing around $220 a night. And people were staying 2 nights, some 3 nights. And then you put in the air tickets and then other expenses. And then over and above that, they still were donating to the fundraisers that we're having. So we need to be thankful. I want to thank everyone who was there, who attended, those who donated online. We want to thank you so much for that. It's so encouraging to see that we have Zimbabweans that are willing to support their struggle. Now, moving on, you were talking about Madzore, Paul Madzore, a legendary Paul Madzore. His music has been very inspiring. Others were like, matotanga kupanana maawards tsata wina nyika. No, it was not about the struggle. It was not about his role in Triple C or his role in the former MDC. It was about his music. We have done this before. We did this with Thomas Tafirenyika Mkanya Mapfumo, who, by the way, was supposed to be there, but unfortunately, he lost his young brother. Lancy, those who know Mkanya, they know that, he has a young brother whom he has been playing with for all these years. And he died last week, in the week of the United Nations General Assembly. And, he had to cancel to come to the United Nations. Toti nematambudziko to kuna kumuri kwa Mkanya. So we said we just want to honor this man for his inspiring music, for what he has done, for his contribution to the music industry, and also to the struggle on the side of inspiration. So we followed what Beatrice Mutetwa said. You remember when Dr. Magaisa passed away at the memorial service, Beatrice Mutetwa said, let's honor our heroes. Let's thank each other while we are still alive. Let's not wait until someone has died and then we start saying, babranga kanaka, chief wangu right. If wangu nitengera bodoro rache whiskey zozvi, kana uchizvifarira zvatiri kuita pano. Wongotenga chibhodhoro chacho totomwa toziva kuti I've been honored, So that's what we're trying to do there. Just honoring a man while he was still there, so that he sees the appreciation that people have. Ndakaona Amadzore vachidonha musodzi because he wasn't expecting it. Tangoakumbira kuzoridza. We're not paying him anything. We didn't give him a cent. It was all voluntary. And he was very instrumental in what we're doing there, advising us, because we have never organized a musical show. Okay, I'll let you see that, and then take a look at the plaque there that North America province bought for Mr. Madzore. You can play it, Estelle. I think it's not playing. I'm not hearing the volume.
There's no volume.
Let me restart. On my side, it's playing. Let me just restart it.
Yeah, she'll restart. So just get ready to see that beautiful plaque for awarded to Mr. Madzore for his outstanding, inspirational work in music, inspiring all of us. There we go.
I will do my monetary contributions towards them. It's not a situation whereby I will say, I'm contributing $1,000 towards $1 million. No, for the people to know. But it's for the heart that he has for our country. It's not for him. It's for us all. Yes.
Just shortly. Zimbabwe manyarareiko, 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 chiregamina. Zimbabwe manyarareiko, manyarareiko, chiregamina. Vanomira tonyarara, manyarareiko, manyarareiko, chiregamina. Zimbabwe manyarareiko.
Wow, wow, wow. That was great, Chief. That was great. You know, yeah, you guys, you did very well by honoring our legend, Paul Madzore. You know, this is a very great honor, Chief. Anzi, munhu anofanira kutendwa achiri mupenyu, and that's exactly what you did. Ndinofunga tichaonawo maviewers edu achititenda inini newe Chief panapa kuunzirai maprograms. Vanofanira kutitenda kamari yacho tobva taiendesa kumaelections.
aiwatendwa aizve sure.
Aya, but you guys, you did very well. Honestly speaking, you know, Madzore Anondi, you know, he inspires me, Chief. You know, he's so humble. That guy is so humble, and he was just singing. Ana basa nemari, and you know, even in music yake, you know what, Chief. Vanhu vaitoita kubhena music yake, vaitoita kuirekodha pama-CD vachitengesa, mari dzacho vachiisa muhomwe, iye asina kana senti. Can you imagine?
And then what happened? You can tell the people what happened after that. I mean, when we saw that was what was happening.
Yes, you know, because we tairwadziwa, we know we could see kuti Madzore should be making a lot of money, especially these days, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, you know, the monetization, you know, Zuckerberg monetized a lot of things, you know. So we saw that Madzore can make a lot of money through monetization of his videos. So we engaged him. He didn't even know that there was something like that. You know, we opened him a Facebook page, opened him the
YouTube channel.
YouTube channel. So you guys, you have to click into Madzore. Estela muchazotisira kuti inonzi YouTube channel yake, so that people can subscribe and like his videos, so that he gets a lot of money yekutsikisa. You know, sometimes mari yekutsikisa anenge asitomborina, mari yekuti arekodhe anenge asina. You know, it's so pathetic. He records nemari yake, but music yachona inenge ichienda for the party, you see. So I think in future you won't be having all those problems. I've been viewing constantly my pages and channel yake. Chief is doing very well. His music is doing very well, and I know very soon you'll be having something chekuti akwanise kurekodhawo ega atsikise pasina ma-problems. So it was courtesy of Change Radio. We did that for Madzore. We had to give him that information, and we took the lead. We opened him those pages, social media pages, so that he can monetize his music, my videos.
Yes. So yeah, that's Change Radio is a people's radio station. It's a citizens radio station, and we help musicians, both upcoming and musicians established, like Mr. Paul Madzore. Can you imagine all this time? Some people were actually making money out of Mr. Madzore's music, and they never gave him a cent. I know a number of people that were playing his music at their YouTube channels, and they never acknowledged him nor gave him anything. But Change Radio took it upon itself and opened a YouTube channel for him, and now he's monetized. He's getting about $120 to $150 a month. That's something, especially if you are in Zimbabwe. And we have been working with Anzanan, Anasibo, Sisisibo. We're going to do the same thing again. We have promoted their music on the radio station, and we have helped them record. And we are also going to monetize their music.
And Cooksman as well. And
Cooksman too.
Anonzani headmaster.
Headmaster Burutsa. Headmaster Burutsa, yeah. So Change Radio has been doing a lot, touching people's lives in a different way, not only politically, but also improving people's livelihoods. So that was a chief there with Paul Mazore just after he had arrived. We'd gotten him from the airport, and immediately from there, he went into a rehearsal to prepare for the big day. Yeah, so
and you forgot to tell them about you didn't finish the Change Radio motto, changing lives, changing ideas, changing communities. That's exactly what we'll be trying to do. We want to change the people's ideas. My ideas one kuwachinja from brain dzakafonyorwa nezanu tichiwachinja tichiwaisa brain dzine changing communities. We change communities by helping out my communities, kuti ave my communities are geared for change. That's change radio for you, changing ideas, changing lives, and changing communities.
So Barbara, why would you not support a radio station like Change Radio? You need to be a subscriber. You need to be constantly donating to Change Radio so that we can be able to do more. We can be able to help more musicians, because all these things that we do, they cost money at the end of the day, but we need your support. So Estella, as we keep on the program, she's going to post details there where you can just subscribe or donate something, $5, $10, $20 to Change Radio, so that we keep doing what we are doing, helping musicians, but also informing a nation, educating a nation, changing communities, changing ideas, changing lives.
I think, Chief, we need to do a show one day about Change Radio, telling people about Change Radio, what Change Radio is actually doing, and also appreciating the people that work for Change Radio, the volunteers that work for, yes, the volunteers that are doing are so well. We need to we need to honor those people that are making Change Radio tick every day. People are getting news, so we need to thank those people. We need to come and tell the people about Change Radio, and also you could do something about Change Radio wherever you are. You might not be reading our news, you might not be a news reader, you might not be a news writer, you might not even be an editor, but you can become a Change Radio champion by donating every month as little as $3 or $5, or even $1, Chief. It will go a long way. Dollar times 12 months is $12. So it's something, So we will definitely come back and tell the people about Change Radio. Even those that still want to join us, they are welcome to come and join Change Radio and be part of the change that we are looking for.
Yes. So yeah, it's a people's radio station supported by the people, supported by the citizens. Moving on, Emerson Mnangagwa. Andisana mbona gwara rakaita saEmerson Mnangagwa. Munhu uya anotya citizens.
Ndakanzwa kuti akabuda neku-back door.
Akabuda nepa-back door, akaenda kupoya nepa-airport pasingapindwe napo. They had to negotiate later on, using their diplomatic immunity. Akapoya nepasingafanira kupindwa napo. Ndege yake akalenda, isati yakufana kulenda, because at the airport you have to be cleared. But they just landed because they knew that if they were going to land on time, they were going to, end up, getting, in confrontation with Zimbabweans that were waiting for him. So he landed too early, which was a violation, an aviation violation, and he also used an unauthorized exit from the airport. Chichichka, there it is at the donate now button. Those who are here, please jump onto that link and donate something to Change Radio right now so that we can continue doing the work of the people, the work of the struggle. But back to Gwararedu, Emerson Mnangagwa. My citizens, don't motaura sa Susan mtani pan. My citizens, Mnangagwa tikangomuti bo, tikangomuvesera moto pasi petsoka. Chimunhu chiya chinotiza. I'm telling you, if next year he steals elections again, which we know he's going to do, if people go in the streets, mark my words, that man is going to flee. That man is going to run away from Zimbabwe. That man has everything to lose because he has his millions already. He has his money already. He has looted his money already. And now, you'll be saying, Ndora Wansandach Gamaria, Ndora Wansandach Gamaria. Chinotiza. Chinototiza, I can tell you, he did the same thing after that ice cream debacle. And it wasn't even ice cream debacle. One day I'm going to do a show to just tell the people what exactly had happened. Barbara, if I tell you, yange isiri ice cream, Mnangagwa sakatora maviagra, sakatora zvimishonga zvemusana zviya tunoenda kusanganisa zvosanganiswa zvimwe chita zvokusuta zvimwe achimwa, and then he drank those because anenge kamwana kaanenge achida kunoita sei kunoita zvaanoita. And then after that he ate ice cream, and then it react. Unoziva zvinhu zveizvi hazvidi mukaka. Handivaiziva kuti pane mamatablets asingade mukaka. That's exactly what happened ipo paya. And then he started saying Grace Mugabe wanted to poison him. But what I'm just saying is Mnangagwa is a coward. He ran away. He used an unauthorized exit to run away from Zimbabweans. And I can tell you that he changed hotels twice because he knew that we were going to be waiting for him at another hotel, and he had to change, that. And Estella, if you can also fly some of the posters that he was advertising where he was supposed to address Zimbabweans. This man is afraid of Zimbabweans. He's afraid of Zimbabweans. Look at the poster that Estella is going to post there. We're not doing it to promote Emerson Mnangagwa, but we're just posting it so that you can see that there was no venue whatsoever. Mr. Chasi, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine. How are you?
You have a background noise. Just hold on a second and then we'll connect you. But you have a lot of background noise.
All right.
So if you can see, you can look at that poster,
Right.
Zimbabweans. That poster is advertising someone who is called a president of Zimbabwe. Why is there no venue? There is no venue there because he was afraid that Zimbabweans were going to go there. So they put an RSVP number, where we could, and then we had about 10 of our members that responded to that RSVP. And they knew that these people were Triple C, because they were doing some security checks. And they changed the venue. They never told, they told other people a different venue. And those that they wanted to attend that event, they told them another venue. Mind the president, anotya vanhu, anotya ma citizens, anotya vanhu vake. This man is a coward. Anyway, we have just been joined by Mr. Chasi, one of the Zimbabweans that was protesting in New York. Mr. Chasi, welcome to the program. Yes. If we are just discussing here briefly Emerson Mnangagwa's trip that he came here, used millions of dollars. You know exactly how much he used. And then he was supposed to be meeting Zimbabweans, but he was dodging Zimbabweans. So he ended up meeting only those Zimbabweans that he wanted to meet. If you can see the posters that he was distributing, they had no venue, which means he didn't want certain Zimbabweans to be coming to those meetings, obviously in fear of citizens. What would you make of a so-called president who is afraid of his own people? And what would you also make of the amount of money that ED used to come to New York and then going back to Zimbabwe empty-handed with nothing to show for it?
Yes, the first thing that I want to highlight there, in Zimbabwe, when Mnangagwa is holding rallies, buses are moved from each province to wherever he goes. And you look at an average of 65 people on a bus. Sometimes they are all
we've just lost. Oh, my goodness. We just lost him there. We'll try to get him. Barbara, you can come in and just talk about this coward that we are discussing here.
Yes, I was saying, indeed, he is a coward. Remember, before the coup, when he ran away and went to Mozambique, and then akaenda netsoka here achitiza. Igwara idi. People don't know that he is a coward, Chief. He is a coward. Like now, yes, like now he uses the army, he uses the police to beat people. But I tell you, one day the army vachanzirowa one, vacharamba kurowa one, because the same army that is beating people, they are not being paid well enough to feed their families. You know, vari kukwangwaya masoja aya nemapurisa aya. Mapurisa opfeka bhutsu dzakatsveyama, anopfeka uniform yakasakara. Ukaona government ichitadza kuprovide its own civil servants with uniforms, decent protective clothing or decent uniforms, then utoziva kuti mari inoenda kumba hapana chinhu. So those people are being paid peanuts. One day, Chief, vacharamba kurova vanhu because Mnangagwa is just using them. So he is a coward. I was actually waiting for that time where paachanyadziswa paaifanirwa kunyadziswa
Yes, Barbara, I want you to read that comment, but before you do that, let's get Miss Teacher back. He has just called back. My apologies there. We lost you and you were starting to explain something very important.
Yes, what I was explaining is that in Zimbabwe, ZANU-PF, when they are holding rallies, whether it's White City Stadium in Bulawayo, whether it's Rufaro National Sports, no one is supporting ZANU-PF. They have to gather buses, 2 buses per province to 5, sometimes 10. The same crowd which they address in one interface is the same crowd which they address in the next rally. So when Mnangagwa left the Robert Mugabe International Airport, he was hesitant to sharing his itinerary, even with the journalists that he's leaving. They were very cautious about that. Then, on he left with a delegation of 98 people. We also take into consideration that there was already an advanced team of 65. Then we also put the numbers of the embassy staff there. Then we also look into one aspect. People who work under the office of the president, they are all trained personnel. These are aides. These are his security, one way or the other. The appointment of director, this and that, those are additional titles. So when we look at his departure from Zimbabwe to New York, he buzzed. That jet was a Zupco of his. He took his own supporters straight into New York and he breached the Federal Aviation Authority rules. He landed 2 hours earlier. And instead of the normal channel, he had to use the other means to say, you are saying there is supporters there. Tell me, of all the Zimbabweans, most of them with political aslams there, who would dare outcome to support Mnangagwa? Who would support ZANU-PF? No one. So when we look at Mnangagwa going to New York there, and he's speaking about sanctions. He's not addressing about the Zimbabwe situation. We're talking about a government which says that there is no money, there is no foreign currency, yet they loot. They bring in gold coins, they bring in the strongest currency, the RTGS. Remember that it was backed up by the Afrimex Development Bank there, and that money was lost. They are saying that there is no foreign currency in Zimbabwe, yet they loot gold, they loot diamonds, they go to private jets, they go shopping different places. They can't pay civil servants. And he goes on to speak about sanctions when he cannot speak about electoral reforms, when he cannot speak about the way forward into Zimbabwe. He's running away. So the kind of person that we're dealing with here, this is a cartel. I would say that the voice of the people in Zimbabwe is truly the voice of God. These are prophets of Baal. We need to prove that. And we need to destroy, we need to call upon the living God to say what Mnangagwa is doing in Zimbabwe. This man knows the power of the people. When he was talking to that poster that we were sharing there, the people who were being addressed there, these are the same people that he left with. Where were they during the UNGA? Because when you look at the UNGA there, all other heads of state, security is provided for. Everything is provided for. So why did he bus? We cannot say that they flew. Why did he take all these people with him? That was one of their roles there.
So if you compare what President HH in Zambia did, the smaller delegation that he brought, and the meetings that he had on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, and you compare with Emmerson Mnangagwa, who was even lying that he was going to meet with President Joe Biden, you know, and then you look at the amount of money that was used, you know, and then you also compare, you bring in South Africa there as well, where we saw President Ramaphosa addressing business people in America and even meeting with President Joe Biden. What would you say, you know, especially considering the amount of money that was spent by the Zimbabwean high-powered delegation?
That's a good question, Chief Sosi. You cannot compare the Bali of Africa, President HH, with the Commander-in-Chief of Zimbabwe. So those are two different things. Yeah, so we cannot compare those two people. Yeah, because he is looting. That is a cartel. So when you look at their mission, Joe Biden cannot shake the hands of a man who drips with the blood of innocent
I understand
people.
he refused. He refused to meet with Emmerson Mnangagwa.
He cannot do that. Those hands drip with the blood of innocent people. We're talking about mass genocide. We're talking about a man who is proud of assassinating people, who does not care, who is not accountable. He fears nothing. He only fears the people. So when we look at that, his delegation and these other Southern African heads of state, they went with 10 to 20 staff. They knew that they were safe. They knew that they are fine. So President Mnangagwa of ZANU-PF, he is not the president of the Republic of Zimbabwe. He didn't take power correctly. He went with a coup. The Constitutional Court, the Motlanthe Commission, nothing is resolved. This man is ruling using martial law. He is yet to meet a test of his own medicine. So when we look at his tactics, those are colonial tactics. We are able to stand up against him. A revolution is coming. So when we look at that budget alone, which they spent, and when we go to elections, they tell us that there's no money for elections. They are trying by all their means. Where is the money coming from? Zimbabwe lost 15 billion, 10 billion. Money is being lost. And the man goes to make up empty hollow speeches at UN and speaks about sanctions. And in Britain, they are saying that they were allowed to travel. They're not even restricted. So which sanctions are they talking about? Travel bans and economic sanctions are two different things. If there were economic sanctions in Zimbabwe, they will not be doing whatever they are doing. So when we look at him, I want to go.
The private jet,
Africa,
the private jet that
they
he's
were-
talking about was actually hired from a European country where they claim to be having sanctions.
This is what I'm saying about. That's why I'm saying that we're having a commander-in-chief who's able to sweep us. And I don't know what he was making there. The UN was just watching at him. There was nothing there. So we don't have a president in Zimbabwe.
Yeah. Okay. So in considering how much money was used by ED when that $5 to $10 million that was used here could have been used to buy hospital equipment, hospital medication, it could have gone a long way. And we also heard that ED donated $1 million to one department of the United Nations, and this is a country that is one of the poorest countries donating money to the United Nations after having also blown over $5 million. It's just ridiculous.
That was not a donation. In a cartel system, when you approach the government ministers there, they are used to receiving $1 million just as a bribe, just to go and review the mines. We know what Obet Mpofu did his son there. Then when we look into him donating $1 million, it's his culture. He's thinking he can bribe his way there. They are going to applaud hands for him. So that was not a donation. And when we look at that money, Zimbabwe could have used that money. Imagine if we took 10 million and we gave 1 million each province to the youth, just to better themselves, with each youth getting $500. $100 makes a difference to the youth in Zimbabwe. 10 million can buy ambulances. You know, if you go to the rural areas there, each ward needs about 5 ambulances. So when you talk about the constituency in the rural areas, maybe a place like Fort Dixon, you have to move around. You have to travel about 4 hours or 6 hours to get to the nearest hospital. And besides that, if you get sick in Material, wherever point you are, you have to go to Mpilo. If you're in Mashonaland, you have to go to Padare to a group of hospitals. Those are the 2 major hospitals which are there. If you get sick once you're in Big Falls, they have to take you back to Blawayo. So that money which they are spending, we're just talking about this trip. The money which is being said it was released from the government. There is other money which is not being accounted for. So these are the figures which they want to give us.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chasi. I'll just give you a minute to round up and say your last words.
What I would like to say is that it's high time that we as Zimbabweans, we came together. When we look at this generation, these are people who are 80, 85 years old. They are leaving a bad legacy for those who are still in their 40s and 60s. So those who are still young there, even the 20-year-olds or 30-year-olds, they need to wake up. ZANU-PF has nothing to offer. A revolution is coming, 2023. We know that we have a candidate who is better, who has got better chances of winning, and they've been trying to distract him, and
who is that candidate?
I'm talking about Advocate Nelson Chamisa. Okay. I'm not his friend, but we know Mugabe said he will never vote for ZANU-PF. He said passing as ZANU-PF. So when we look at that man, he doesn't need an alliance with anyone. He doesn't need a dialogue with anyone. He doesn't need to be part of Poland or anything. So why they're attacking him is because they know his potential. They know what he's capable of doing. So no one needs to brush shoulders with him. What we need as Zimbabwe is to fight the oppressive system. When we fight the oppressive system with the new government of young people, that's when we can also put our names in the head, the same way that they did for their ranks and positions, to say, that the young generation, let us do this, let us do that. So we need to remove the oppressive system right now. This is the time to do it. We need to fight together. It's not about who is supporting who or who. We're not supporting anyone. But if there's a candidate who is capable of doing it, we all need to come together, not to always fight. We need to share ideologies on how to defeat the system, how to remove it. This is what we need. We need a new Zimbabwe. No one is enjoying the situation. No one is enjoying what they're going through. You cannot always come. We have 4 years, 6 months. Just after the last elections day, we are left with a few months. Then that's when the Minister of Finance comes and says, we're going to start giving you money in foreign currency. And the civil servants start dancing for 6 months. After the 6 months, then they go back to the RTGS. Should they clap hands that for ZANU-PF? We're going, just in 3 months' time, they start giving government inputs on farming, and then we clap hands on that. There's nothing to applaud for. This is the time that people need to wake up. You've been having load shedding in Zimbabwe every time. 3 months before elections, you start having electricity every day. You start having water every day. Then you say ZANU-PF is doing a good job. No, ZANU-PF is not doing a good job. I'm not for ZANU-PF.
Thank you very much, my brother. I appreciate you. We're gonna arrange a full interview so that we can come and exchange ideas, as you have been saying. Zimbabweans are listening across the world on Change Radio and on Zimai. We've just been talking here to Mr. Sam, one of the citizens that was ready to arrest Emerson Mnangagwa. And you saw Emerson Mnangagwa was running away from his own people, from his citizens, dodging, changing hotels. He was supposed to be staying at this other hotel, and he knew that there were Zimbabweans waiting for him, and he changed the hotel. You can imagine the costs to the nation, because obviously there will not be any refund. And so moving on now, welcome back, Barbara. Moving on, as you heard Mr. Chasi saying here, that Emerson Mnangagwa paid over 250 people to come and welcome him at the international at the JFK International Airport, because he knew that he doesn't have people that support him here in America. Even the people that claim to be chairpersons in Canada and the USA, Charumbira, they were not even there. But he brought a few people that came as an advance team to welcome him at the airport. They were there, but because he knew that there were some other Zimbabweans that were angry with him, he ended up using an unauthorized exit and avoided even meeting the people that he had paid, to come and welcome him all the way from Zimbabwe. But not only did he pay people to come and welcome him in America. Yes, I know you're not getting me right. There were people that were brought specifically to welcome Emerson Mnangagwa and dance for him at the airport, just like what he did in the United Kingdom. They were brought for that, and they were there. There were about 15 or so people that were at the JFK. But they ended up not doing that because he was so much afraid of the other group of Zimbabweans that were waiting for him. But not only did he do that, he also paid a group of Americans here, Bonda Zema America, called December 12th movement. And they were there when we were protesting at the United Nations. I personally went and confronted them, and I asked the police officers that were there so that they could allow us to just come and make a statement and show the world that these people were not Zimbabweans. They were Americans that had been paid like mercenaries. They get paid $100, and then after that, vonotengerwa doro, ma whiskey, chi, and they are the people that went to his so-called meeting with Zimbabweans. There were no Zimbabweans there. There were just a few Zimbabweans actually at the meetings where he avoided most of the Zimbabweans that had RSVP'd to be part of that meeting. So it's all a lie. Emerson Mnangagwa is about lying. He lied about meeting Joe Biden. Joe Biden, refused to meet with him. He knew that he was not going to meet with him. But Mangwana went ahead and published an article saying Emerson Mnangagwa was going to meet with Joe Biden. No, that was just propaganda. He never met with him. And Joe Biden would never meet with someone of Mnangagwa's caliber. And going back to our story, he paid Americans to come and demonstrate on his behalf at the UN General Assembly. And that was, we actually exposed them, because at first we went and confronted them. But what was more interesting was when VOA came, they tried to interview, they interviewed us, and then we told them to go and interview those ZANU-PF people. And we actually tipped them to say that, please, go and try and talk to them in Shona and Ndebele. They could not get one person, not even one person, to speak in Ndebele or to speak in Shona, which means they were just Americans. Americans that could not even say Moro. Americans that were not even pronouncing the word Zimbabwe well. They were singing English songs, you know. They didn't know what was going on. Most of them were half drunk with drugs and beer. They were just there for a purpose, because they'd been brought to be there, and they were given T-shirts. So, and mostly, they were not even playing, they were not even singing. They had a nice PA system, a brand new PA system, Barbara. Makatengerwa PA system, it worth about $15,000 that they were playing. So they were playing music, Zimbabwean music, and then they would just be mimicking all of them as if they were singing. But none of them were singing. None of them could pronounce even one word in Shona. So Zimbabweans, these are things that you need to know. I don't know, Estella, if you have that clip where we were at the United Nations confronting these Americans who were masquerading as Zimbabweans.
It's so pathetic, Chief.
Yeah. Citizens.
I saw them. You know, they didn't even look like Africans. You know, even ukaenda kupi kumachonyonyo kupi even chero muno mu-UK, unogona kusangana nemunhu wotoona kuti uyu munhu akafita kuita muZimbabwe ushu. And for sure ukamutaudza Shona kana kuti Ndebele anotopindura munhu iye. So
yeah, there we go. There we go. I think Estelle is ready to play. So as you can see, folks, these are the people that are purported to be Zimbabweans. These are not Zimbabweans. They are not Zimbabweans. They are not Zimbabweans, these people. They are not Zimbabweans. They've been saying, all these people are Americans. They are not Zimbabweans. They've been given $50 so that they can come and protest. There is no Zimbabwean here. There is no Zimbabwean here. These people are not Zimbabweans. They are not supposed to be here. They are not supposed to be here. They are not supposed to be here. These are not Zimbabweans. These are not Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, I want you to see. This is what is happening. Look, there's no Zimbabwean here. All these are hired people. They've been given $50. At the end of the day, they are going to be given beer. Yes, so that they say lies. They are here to lie. They are not Zimbabwe.
Down with traitors against Zimbabwe.
No, look at him.
He can't even pronounce Zimbabwe.
Traitors against Zimbabwe.
He can't even speak Shona.
U.S. hands off Zimbabwe.
He can't even speak Shona. Look at them.
Focus. U.S. hands off Zimbabwe.
You can't speak Shona. You can't
never give up.
You can't speak Shona.
Zimbabwe.
You can't speak Shona.
Zimbabwe.
You can't speak Shona. You can't speak Shona. You can't speak Shona. You can't speak Shona. You are not Zimbabwean. 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 You are not
Never give up.
You are not Zimbabwean.
U.S. hands off Zimbabwe.
You are not Zimbabwean.
U.S. hands off Zimbabwe.
You are not Zimbabwean. 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 You are not Zimbabwean.
Never give
You
up.
can't speak Shona. You can't speak Shona. You can't speak Shona. You can't speak Shona. They can't speak Shona. They can't speak Shona.
Traitors to Zimbabwe.
Mercenaries.
Enemies of the United States.
Mercenaries.
That's where they get their money.
Mercenaries.
From Washington and London.
Mercenaries. Hired
They're
people.
mercenaries for the United
Hired
States.
people. Mercenaries. You see, you can hear the accent. These are not Zimbabweans.
From Harare
Yeah.
to Brooklyn, Pan-Africanism lives. From Harare to Brooklyn. U.S. hands off Zimbabwe. U.S. hands off Zimbabwe. U.S. hands off Zimbabwe. Get the sanctions now. Get the sanctions now. Get the sanctions now. Who's Zimbabwe? Who's Zimbabwe? Fight on, Zimbabwe. Fight on, ZANU-PF. Who's Zimbabwe? Who's Zimbabwe? One people, one aim.
Right.
Independent Zimbabwe.
Zimbabweans.
Yep.
So what was happening here was I went there with our reporter, and I just wanted to I ended up speaking to the police to allow other Zimbabweans to come there, because it was just me only. So there's another clique there where all Zimbabweans were now there. There I was just alone, because I was just, it was just so disgusting that these people were masquerading as Zimbabweans, and they were not Zimbabweans. Fortunately, the police allowed us, the whole group of Zimbabweans that were there to come. If Estela finds that she's going to play that for us, because eventually they allowed us to just go and confront them, and it was, they ended up quiet. They just kept quiet. They kept quiet. They stopped singing. They stopped talking, because it was just too much for them. Zimbabweans were just angry, and they confronted them. Hanzi tasvikawo pano mukanya makadini December 12 movement inowacha madiapers kana team CC North America yapinda panzvimbo. ZANU izulu rakapinda nyoka. That's very true, Amada. That's very true. These people, they were quiet. I don't know, Estela, if you've managed to get that clip when we went there. Now, the whole group of Zimbabweans, true Zimbabweans, genuine Zimbabweans, when we went and confronted them, they kept quiet. They didn't expect that. They were shocked. If you manage to
You know what,
that,
Chief? You know what, Chief? Where will you get Zimbabweans outside Zimbabwe that support ZANU-PF when
yeah,
they are outside because they ran away from this government, ZANU-PF government, that has ruined the economy. And then it doesn't make sense, Chief, that we came here, we're running away from ZANU-PF government, and then I come and lift the placard and start chanting ED slogans. Then right upstate. Who would do that? Because diaspora is full of asylum seekers, refugees, So who would do that for Emerson Mnangagwa? Munhu akakwana chaiye mudiaspora angasimudza placard. Ramunanga, I just don't know. I could think kuti vanhu vaya vanosupporta those people that are here that support Emerson Mnangagwa, but are they okay upstairs here? Honestly, they are busy enjoying the freedoms, the democracy of other countries, and yet they can't even tell Emerson Mnangagwa, but what you are doing to the people of Zimbabwe, it's wrong.
Yes. And while it's there, I think we also had an opportunity to talk to BBC, where we, highlighted the Zimbabwean issues. We highlighted the issue of More Blessing Ali, arbitrary arrest, the issue of Honorable Job Scala, Honorable Stole, the Nyatsime 15, and it was broadcasted on BBC. I don't know if you managed to see it, but we have the clip right here with us. If you missed that part, Estela, if you can just play that very briefly, you don't have to finish it. But that was an interview with BBC. They just saw, a very vibrant Zimbabwean group, and they came to us and asked for an interview. And we just, did what we're there to speak on behalf of Zimbabwean and, tell them exactly what is going on in Zimbabwe. And Mariega, okay, there it is. That's the interview with BBC. These people want to be in Zimbabwe. Yes. We all should be in Zimbabwe. Yes. But we are not there because, one, we are running away from his repressive regime. And we are running away from the poverty that he has inflicted on our country. Yes. Recently, you heard what Emerson Mnangagwa did. He raped a young lady, 14 years. Yes. And it's there. It's in the papers. You can Google it. And we have a women's rights activist who is here, who has been speaking widely against what Emerson Mnangagwa did. How can a sitting president rape a woman and he's still allowed to be in the United Nations? Yes. The United Nations is supposed to be protecting the rights of women, the rights of their young children. But they are there with him, dining and whining with him. You can come and talk about that.
One of the things that you mentioned is that there's poverty in Zimbabwe, and your president and other presidents have said that one of the reasons for that is because of the sanctions that have been put against the country. Do you agree with that?
That's a lie. Is it not a lie? Because the people in Zimbabwe, those leaders, Emerson Mnangagwa is the ringleader of the looting club in Zimbabwe. I think he's one of the richest people. His children are richer than all of us here. Everyone, they are competing to loot the country. So yes. Zimbabwe is where it is right now. It's on its knees today because of massive corruption, massive looting. Nobody is in jail. We are losing billions of dollars every year. It's not about sanctions. The sanctions that are there are individual sanctions. They are not sanctions that are given to the country. So how does a travel embargo to come to the United States or to the United Kingdom affect the economy of the country? They are just hiding behind the figure. They are killing them. It's corruption. Yes.
Can I just get your name on camera? And have you got permission to use this on BBC TV?
Yes.
Could you just say your name and say that?
Yes, my name is Tawana Tukora and I'm speaking to BBC.
And what's your affiliation?
Okay, so that was the interview with BBC, and I know Comfort Dondo was also interviewed at that time, and she spoke about the issue of Susan Mutani. Estella, you can go ahead.
So sorry, I didn't know my mic was not muted.
You can go ahead and say what you're laughing at, so that's take it.
I'm laughing at the comment by Pepe Shonga there. And funny enough, they were wearing t-shirts written Zimbabwe for Zimbabweans. You were Aribeku Harlem.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's Zimbabwe for Zimbabwe. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's that was what was happening. It was, it was really not right to see people purporting to be Zimbabweans, people speaking on behalf of Zimbabweans when they were not Zimbabweans, saying they were happy with ED, when we know that everyone in Zimbabwe and even outside Zimbabwe, they are not happy with ED. Barbara, as we wrap up.
Yes, that comment from Pepe, I was also laughing at it. How can you put on a t-shirt that is written Zimbabwe for Zimbabweans when you are not a Zimbabwean?
Right.
And when we were at school, this is what we called sarcasm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very unfortunate, Chief. But what I just wanted to say, Chief, is you guys, you did a very, very splendid job. I've always heard people saying, we are hyperground, imi muri kuitei?" And I think people in the diaspora, they've done very, very well, Chief. If you look at the COP26 summit where Mnangagwa came to the UK in Glasgow, Scotland. I was also part and parcel of the crowd. You remember that's where I had to be on the bus for 15 hours traveling from Wales to Scotland. Ndakadarika nyika nhatu ndichienda
Wow.
kuScotland.
Wow.
Yes, yeah. So, I think we have done absolutely very well, Chief. Even if you look at the way we are fundraising for the by-elections, we are going to fundraise for the main elections, and I think people home, they've got vane mungawa, Chief. Wokuti yes, we in as much as tichiona kuti Mnangagwa anorowa anodi, but I think vanhu vakabuda in their numbers to demonstrate, Chief, handioni kuti vangamborohwa ini. Vanorohwa. Inini when I was in ZCTU, mapurisa aitiudza kuti munobuda muri vashoma, ndosaka tichikwanisa kukurovai. Makabuda makawanda hatimbokwanisi kukurova. And they
Very
had a
true.
point, Chief.
Very
They
true,
had a
yes.
point. Because vanhu vanenge vabweza kuuya, vanhu vachitya. Isusu tobuda hedu, isusu pera tagara tiri magidhagoria, tanga tisingache chinhu, taipinda pamadhemo taidii, and I would even lead I would be in the forefront tichiita mademonstrations kuZimbabwe, and you see people vachibweza kuuya, and then torohwa iwe, handiti, because tetiri vashoma, mapurisa anenge ari 200, imi munenge muri 150. So we find kuti every mupurisa anenge aine munhu wake, saka you think havagoni kuti vanotirohwa because tetiri vashoma. But if people, they come out in their numbers, the police will not even manage to beat them. So you guys, what you did, makaita zvisingaoneki. That was even the crowd, people wakabuda, like you're saying, kuti America nemakurira yakaita, Chief, kuti it's like munhu ari kubva kuGweru muchinoita demo kuHarare, but anotora mira
kuTanzania achinoita demo kuHarare.
Mira ndikuudze, I want to talk about America and it as a whole. Kuti it's like zvamakaita imini, it's like munhu ari muGweru achienda kuHarare, but otora 8 hours kuenda kuHarare. I just want people kutoda kuti ndiunze pfungwa dzevanhu kuti vaone kuti America, even chero wakatarisa pamepu, kuti how America is situated, ma-states, ndosaka chinzi United States of America. From one state to another, it's a distance, and unlike here in the UK, whereby UK is United Kingdom. So the United Kingdom has got 4 countries. It has got England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. But, Chief, for me to go to Northern Ireland is 1 hour. I can fly for 1 hour. For me to go to Wales, and don't need ndege, ndinoenda netrain 3 hours ndatopinda muWales. You see now. So if you look at how America is, then ochiona vanhu vangu varipo, I see a lot of committed cadres who sacrificed their money, their time. Remember, here time is money. If you don't go to work for one day, you would have missed something a lot. And so commitment yandakaona commitment inoshamisa, but unoona munhu anotadza kuenda kudemo iri within the demo that is within, like there is a demo in Harare, but you find kuti vanhu vacho vemuHarare havabudi vachienda kunoita demo. And I even want to talk about time ira yaMugabe, vanhu vasati vakurohwa zvezve, but munhu anenge akazvigarira hake kumba kwake, vanhu vachidemonstrate, and the people don't know the power of demonstrations. The power of demonstrations. Mugabe akabuda muoffice because of people that he had demonstrated. So I think this one, what you did, Chief, I think I hope kuti zvicha motivate even people that are on the ground, because they don't know what it means. Chief, you were putting your lives in risk, so all of you makato blacklist, you go to Zimbabwe, anything can happen to you. So akuna risk inodarika iyoyo, you see, sacrificing for the struggle. We could be saying, we could be sitting pretty here, we say, meno ndezvawo kuZimbabwe uku ndezvawo, anditi isusu takagara ndikuora pound, chief ovati ndikuzorera yusa rangu, Estelle ovati ndikuora euro yangu, so ndinofirei and ndotsvirei wamori ranzi ndotsvirei tii isina sugar, but here we are, chief. So people should play their part, even people in Zimbabwe. Ngava play liberation struggle. Akuna struggle isina anonzi bruises. Akuna
casualties,
struggle. Akuna hondo isina mangava. Unotopatoite maronda kana kuti mangava anditi. So kuzvezvo kuti anorowa anodi. Yes, vanorowa because power kai. It's all about power. Hatina pfuti. But power, even chero iwo wana Mnangagwa wasati wane pfuti dzachona, waisungwa wachipinda mumatirongo, wachisungwa wachita sei, wana Mugabe wachisungwa wachita sei, but eventually nyika yakazosununguka. So ini ndikuona chief kuti we are almost there. Come 2023, Zimbabwe iri kuzosununguka, whether ZANU-PF likes it or not. But inini newe tinofanira kuplay our part kuitira kuti izvi zvinhu zvizadzikiswa.
Yes, and 2023 Advocate Nelson Chamisa muoffice chambotsvaka kavidhio kaya kakaplewa nevanhu veZBC kaiti Chamisa muoffice. We need to be playing that constantly, especially now as we go towards elections.
Exactly, Chief.
And but before we go, we want to play one more video from HH just to put into perspective here the differences that we see. Emerson Mnangagwa telling Zimbabweans at the United Nations that even if Zimbabweans don't like me, I'm the president, I will continue to rule until my term goes and we have another election and I will go back in again. He said something like that, so outrageous at the UN. And then you compare with what we're hearing from the likes of HH, very constructive discussions. And one thing that I liked about HH at the UN, he even spoke about, not allowing again, dictators or people that force themselves into power or that refuse to go after elections. It was powerful. It's good that we are hearing some leaders like HH speak out like that, because we are tired of African leaders just covering for each other like that. I don't know, Estella, if you have HH's video so that we can let Zimbabweans see an example of a good leader, which is something that we know will happen with Advocate Nelson Chamisa. And Chief was in spirit during the demo. Salute you, my brother, and the comrades. You shook the whole world. Jack Ngwenya, thank you so much. We appreciate this positive and encouraging feedback.
You said it has a laissez-faire attitude in proactively dealing with concerns of citizens of the Southern African region. So what action do you think the regional body should be taking in some of the ongoing crises? You've heard outcries in Zimbabwe, you've heard outcries in Swaziland. What should SADC be doing?
The governance system, I think in my view, we must push democracy, entrench it. And, I think SADC should be able to say that you cannot assume public office by killing people through the barrel of the gun. Dictatorships, military coups is unacceptable. That's the underlying point I made, as an example, only as an example.
There you see, that was President HH closing us out, speaking very candidly against leaders that just want to come in. I think this was powerful, Barbara. I can't close this before I give you an opportunity to comment on this, because this is the closest that anyone in Southern Africa has spoken against Emerson Mnangagwa's rise to power. He was obviously referring to that.
Yes, I salute HH, Chief. HH is a leader par excellence. He is a leader, he suffered a lot under Edgar Lungu, and now he wants to live, to lead by example. He is that kind of a person. Because he's now a leader. He did not choose to join the dictators. He now standing alone, fighting dictatorship. And this is the kind of the president that we want. And I hope if Nelson Chamisa wins, he will also join HH to fight other dictatorships. And if Malema wins, they will join and fight. And then Africa will be a very good place to live. Yebo kambe mthwakazi omuhle, bekulilanga elihle kakhulu, ngithemba likholisile ade sililethele khona le nduna yakoshoshe, besililethela i-feedback phela umbuthano wawukhona kwele America, Emerson Mnangagwa ehambe khona ngale ukuthi wayange kanjani lalokho abakwenzayo ukuthi ahambe labantu abayi-265 ukuthi bayemamukela e-airport, ngoba wayekwazi ukuthi akula muntu ozamamukela la, nokuhaya abantu ababhadalwayo izimali ukuthi bedemonstrate phela bebhikitshe benze ngazani ngama-Zimbabweans athabela uMnangagwa. Kodwa ngubani okwanileyo sibili osemazweni ongahamba ethabela u-Emerson Mnangagwa? Bona abantu bakhona babaleka eZimbabwe bebalekela umbuso we-ZANU PF. Akula muntu olengqondo ezikwanileyo ungahamba ehlabelela uMnangagwa e-airport, kumbe ongahamba ebhikitsha esithi ama-sanctions kakhitshwe. Thina sihlala sithi akula ma-sanctions. Ama-sanctions akhona ngama-targeted sanctions, and ama-sanctions la ukuze akhitshwe kulezinto ezimele zenzakale. Kumele ukuthi ilizwe leZimbabwe kumbe i-government yeZimbabwe kumbe i-ZANU PF imele inanzelele kumbe inakakele amalungelo abantu. Kumele bakhangele ukuthi abantu bahlezi kuhle, abantu kabahlukuluzwa. Ama-sanctions lawa afakelwa ukukhulula abantu beZimbabwe, afakelwa ukuthi eZimbabwe kube lozibuse kumbe idemocracy. Kodwa siyabona phela ukuthi uMnangagwa le team yakhe ngabantu abafuna ukuthi bancindezele abantu beZimbabwe chief. So ama-sanctions awalani lokuwa kweZimbabwe, ngoba iZimbabwe inothile chief, sile zonke izinto, silama-diamonds, sile gold, silani, kodwa singabayanga. Why? Because of amasela lawa akhona. uMnangagwa lisela elikhulu, abantwana bakhe ngamasela, umkakhe lisela, abantu abamgombolozeleyo ngamasela. So vele bonke laba chief ngabantu abamele bahambe, ngoba abantu sebediniwe, Kodwa thina njenge-Change Radio siyakhuthaza abantu phela ukuthi hambani liye-register ukuvota ngobuningi, livote futhi ngobuningi 2023, ukwenzela ukuthi khona uNelson Chamisa phela awine. Ivoti yethu ya next year chief, we are not looking at parliament, we are not looking at councils. We know that one is an obvious thing. So we are working on the presidential vote. Ndo panenyaya pa presidential vote. Chamisa akapinda muoffice nesota pinda handire.
Ndizozo. Right. Thank you very much, Zimbabweans, for coming here to be with us and discussing this very important issue. And we are also thanking you, and we continue to thank you for supporting the programs that we had at UNGA, the first of all, the Human Rights and Democracy Workshop, the demonstration itself, and then the fundraising dinner. And obviously, for its success, we got help from citizens across the world. We want to thank you for that. And we also touched on, what Emerson Mnangagwa did, blowing more than $5 million, which could have been used for hospitals, for medication, for other things in Zimbabwe. And we also know that at the United Nations, Emerson Mnangagwa donated $1 million to the United Nations. How could that happen? And we did put it into perspective as we compared what Emerson Mnangagwa did at the United Nations, his speech and his lying about meeting Joe Biden, which never was, whose request they actually put in, and it was denied. Joe Biden refused to meet with a dictator, and we thank him for that. But he did meet HH. He did also meet the South African president. And if you listened to the end of the program, we played a clip there where HH was talking about not supporting ever, as we go forward, any leader in Southern Africa who comes through a coup or who refuses to go after elections. He was obviously referring to who, you know who. It's Emerson Mnangagwa. And we applaud that that bravery from an African leader, because they barely do that. So we want to thank President HH for just saying it as it is. And we hope in 2023, all the Southern African leaders will rally behind the people of Zimbabwe, not rallying behind a dictator, not rallying behind their friend. We want leaders like HH who support the people of Zimbabwe. But yes, we'll meet you in other programs again on Change Radio. Please support Change Radio, donate to Change Radio, jump to the link that was posted here, and also like Change Radio YouTube, Change Radio Facebook, and all our other pages. Until we meet again, thank you very much. Estella in the background, we appreciate you. Barbara, I salute you, comrade.
Ngiyabonga. Chief Shoshe.
Simba